Madden 3DS community. Those guys get it. Madden Overdrive, not a nosedive. EA Sports, you continue to thrive. What's their bottom goal? Their honest intent, providing players with pride and accomplishment. Madden CD, oh boy, oh gee, why can't these things start growing on trees? Madden 08, it's Nirvana on a plate. I don't like that one. Here,
Wow, this guy really seems to be enjoying this game. Maybe I should pick it up for myself. I mean, I've never really been a big fan of sports games, but I've been meaning to expand my horizons a little bit, so I guess why not start with the best the series has to offer. Besides, I don't play sports games in real life, so maybe playing a video game version of a sport will do. Wow, this game really blows! Hey y'all! Catcher here, and the doctor said if I don't play a game that's part of a boring, monotonous, and completely overrated series of games, then I might die soon. It's what they call casualitis, and apparently it's infected about 70% of the whole population of people who play games, which means I'd be careful if I were you. And they said I only have about 2 more days to live, so it means I have to act quick. And I've been hearing a lot about this Madden 08 game recently, and the Madden series as a whole seems like the perfect fit for the formula that the doctors gave me. Like I said, I've never been really big on sports, and that includes sports video games. Why play a sports video game when you can just go out with your friends and play the sport itself? I mean, you'd be having a lot more fun anyways, but I'm not really looking forward to dying from this disease I've been diagnosed with, so let's just get started. I've never really reviewed a video game either, so the format might be a little weird, but that's just me trying to get used to it. For those of you who don't know, but I'm assuming that most of you probably do know, the Madden series started all the way back in 1988 and has been a worldwide phenomenon starting soon after. Since that first release, the series has spread across pretty much any platform imaginable, like the Commodore Amiga, MS-DOS, and the BlackBerry Playbook even. According to Wikipedia, and I quote, "It is named after Pro Football Hall of Fame coach and commentator John Madden and has sold more than 130 million copies and influenced many players and coaches of the physical sport." Among the game's realistic features are sophisticated playbooks and player statistics, and voice commentary that allows players to hear the game as if it were a real TV broadcast. My favorite part is the part where they talk about the realistic features of the game. The first of these realistic features is a title screen that plays music that sounds like it's right out of 2001. Like seriously, this game was made in 2007, but for some reason, every single song on this playlist reminds me of a Smash Mouth. Like, there are a lot of songs that play on this menu screen, but seriously, every single one, I just think Smash Mouth for some reason. It's some of the most painstakingly average rock music I've ever heard. Some songs aren't even rock, and those are still aggravatingly average. But I'll stop being so shallow a bit and stop judging a sports game off its music taste. That is to say, let's talk about some gameplay. The first thing of quote-unquote note, I guess, is the fact that you can make a team. In other words, my lifelong dream is finally being fulfilled. I've always wanted to direct a team of overly buff men that could easily kill me. You can make your team look absolutely ridiculous and make the color scheme so ugly. Sometimes I thoroughly believe the team in the game even has trouble understanding what's going on. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to grab any footage of me making a team, but that's okay. My team didn't save anyways, so it doesn't matter. After customizing what the team themselves look like, you can then change various other aesthetics, like what your stadium is going to look like, weather, and time of day. I don't think these things really affect how you play the game, just how ugly the game looks. Even for 2007, this game looks atrocious. Like, let's compare it to another game that came out in 2001. So let's take Uncharted 1 for example. That's not even a competition, it just looks horrible. Uncharted 1 just looks groundbreaking compared to Madden 08. But when you actually start playing the game itself, you choose your team, and of course I had to pick my semi-custom team. Semi-custom because the actual team I made didn't save. And then you flip a coin to see who starts with the kickoff. And look, there's even product placement. Such a comfortable sight in this land of the unknown. I was receiving first since I lost the coin toss, and upon starting, 3 of the 4 available plays were exactly the same. There was actually no distinguishable difference between them whatsoever. Maybe I'm just really bad at reading plays, but I swear they were all the same. After the kickoff, the game prompts you with several different play styles, but here's the real kicker. You're timed. Every single decision you make in this game has a maximum timer of 30 seconds, and within those 30 seconds, several things have to happen. First of all, you have to choose your style of play, and once you do that, you have to choose again which sub-style of play you're going to choose within that overarching style of play. This doesn't sound too bad. After all, I am a gamer, which means I should be great at doing things well under pressure. Well, no. Each page of plays has 4 plays on it, and there are sometimes over 50 pages of plays. Again, you only have 30 seconds to do all of this and to go through and actually execute the play. I often found myself just using the Ask Madden section, where John Madden himself pretty much tells you what the best play to choose in this certain situation would be. And God forbid, if this timer runs out, you get a flag, meaning you get pushed back a few yards on the field, and it was just so obnoxious. I understand the game is trying its hardest to simulate and make you feel like a real football coach. This is not the way the game should be going about it. It feels way too claustrophobic, and it's really grating to try and play like this. I really wanted to try and choose a play that I picked for my team, but I never felt like the game itself wanted me to do that because it was trying to rush me, and I almost always ended up making a decision that turned out to be awful. By the time I actually started, playing the game itself, I was already on the 2-yard line. 2-yard line, dude. That's so ridiculous. And this was all because I couldn't figure out which play I wanted to choose. It's insane that the game presents you with literally hundreds of plays at a time and doesn't even give you the slightest opportunity to try and make the best of it. The only way I can imagine knowing all of these plays and which ones to use when they would be most effective is if you played this game for literally hundreds of hours. But come on, really, who's gonna do that? I can't get myself to believe that anybody, not a single person on this entire plane of existence, would want to play such a game for countless hours upon hours. I mean, I don't even play my favorite game of all time for that long because I fear that I might get bored of it. I do have to say though, by far the best part about this game is the fact that literally the entire crowd, the whole audience, is a really low resolution PNG image, pseudo animated to kind of make it look like they're cheering. I mean, not enough to make me think that I could be one of those audience members, but it's still there, I guess. When I first started this game, I died. I literally died. Just poof, gone. My brain just couldn't handle how lazy the developers were. And yes, I know that these games are made in less than a year, and that's the issue with pretty much every single series that has a game come out annually. There's not enough time in a year to put enough care and effort into a game to make it more than mediocre. In fact, there are only 2 examples that I can think of off the top of my head of games within this time frame that turned out stellar. The Spyro sequels and the original Crash Bandicoot sequels. Other than that, I don't know. It might be a bit difficult to find something that fits this criteria. By the time it was my turn for defense, I was kind of already worn out on this game. I was mostly just ready for it to be over, and I hadn't even finished playing the first quarter yet. Like, really. It's probably just because I was so bored, but good God, I was so done with the whole thing already. I forgot to mention earlier that you can decide how long each quarter is going to be within the game, and I believe I picked around 6 minutes per quarter. I was trying to do something quick, but I think I ended up playing this one match for 45 minutes to an hour. It should have lasted 24 minutes, but no. And you know why it lasted so long? Well, because of the decision timer. Every time I didn't pick a play on time, it gave me a penalty, making the game last even longer. But let me tell you right now, this was probably one of the most boring 1-hour periods of my life. I'm not even trying to be over dramatic or anything here. It was genuinely an awful experience for me. Playing defense is really awful too. I say playing, but really I mean that lightly. Playing in this sense means watching as you randomly pick a play and your team kind of follows that play. You do have the choice to choose between which player on the field you want to be, but really when you play, it's going to be you running towards a guy for a couple seconds and get stuck in a headlock with one of the other team's players. It's really shallow and it just feels super hollow to play. I mean, I guess if I were to actually enjoy sports games, this might be okay since people who enjoy sports are typically hollow anyways. It also kind of seemed like no matter what I tried, the game's AI was just too good. Like, it seemed like it always found a way to block whatever I was doing, which, by the way, in case you've never played a video game before, is really infuriating. Why make the player feel successful in a game when you can just make them feel like nothing they do will even matter? Wow, I didn't realize this game was a life simulator. One thing I haven't even talked about yet is the sound effects of this game. And to say this game has bad sound effects, I think would be giving it a little bit too much credit.
Benson gets it. Barnett is Transmitter on the stop.
I have no real accurate way of describing the feeling these sound effects gave me, but I can tell you it definitely was not one of joy or anything remotely like it. I think a more accurate description would be to say that the sound effects themselves sounded really disappointed, as if they were self-aware of how disgusting they were.
Wow, I didn't realize this game was a life simulator.
Something about them just really screams early 2000s to me, and that really brings me to my last point with this game. Everything in it just feels really outdated. Outdated, but outdated in a way that makes it feel like it was never in date, if you know what I'm trying to say. It feels like even when this game came out, it must have been outdated, and that can really be said about almost any sports game, or really any game that has a game come out every single year. The developers simply are not given enough time to care about what they're making, so in turn, we as consumers get stuck with something that feels the same every year, with only slight graphical upgrades with each installment. All this being said, well, I can't really hate the game too much. Sure, I don't like it, and yes, it has a lot more flaws than anything to redeem it, but again, I'm not really 100% convinced that's entirely the fault of the game's bearing. Given more time and care, I have a sneaking suspicion that these types of games could still be pretty decent. Not great, and probably not anything that I'd personally play, but something that would at least hold up better than this did. Well, I went back to the doctor, and he said that I'm all cured, which means that I can keep making videos. But here's to hoping that I never have to make a video like this one again. That meaning a video about a game so boring that I literally had to go to the doctor for once.